Hello, my name is JORGE ALFANO, and welcome to Andean Quest. This is a very particular chapter that we are going to explore together, where we are going to learn about a very different, and I will say, mystical path that I encountered many years ago when I decided that I needed to go back into my roots, into researching where I came from originally, from South America, and the amazing things that I found through time and space, living there with different groups. And these teachings are more likely to affect and change your life like they did to me. So, without more to say about my life, I would like to start by talking to you about how these teachings came to be and to actually reach the Andean region of South America. For many, many thousands, I would say millions of years, the Earth has been visited by cosmic beings, intergalactic travelers that will, with their knowledge, try to help us to evolve into what we have become already. This is now common knowledge. You will hear in your mind that maybe all the knowledge of other planets and people coming from other planets is just a fantasy that you can see on TV. But I encounter a different way of life, a different way of seeing these ancient teachings that are not on the books, on schools or universities. This is knowledge that is transcribed and transmitted to us by teachers and people that have lived this way for thousands of years. Of course, with all the advancement of commercial science and all the production of education that is not indigenous to the land, that came from some other place, we have lost this education, we have lost the connection with the truth, and we live a very simple, I will say, unproductive life where we are enslaving ourselves towards producing energy for somebody else or somebody that is profiting from our energy. So these teachings originally arrived to the planet, as I said before, many thousands or millions of years ago. The origins are from different planets, different groups of people that came to visit us, like we can say from the Anunnakis up to the Lemurians, or many other groups, extraterrestrials and other humans from Lyra and many other systems, stellar systems that are in the universe. So once we agree to this, then it's a lot easier to understand how we are made or who made us. And the teachings are very clear about this and our divine or cosmic origin. So Andean Quest is about finding these teachings on this part of the world, America or America, the real name. America meaning the land of the Immortals. And this is very important to know nowadays because everything is coming to a disclosure. We are going to see this happening more and more around us. It's becoming more of a common conversation between people that are searching. If you are feeling uncomfortable with you feel like you don't fit in this kind of society, you don't understand what's going on with the politics and all these people that are making our life such a complicated thing, it's because you are waking up into a new dimension, into a new reality. You are becoming more conscious. We are being granted permission to start evolving into ascension. In the Andean part of what we inherit from the great masters, it's very interesting to see how these teachings have evolved into everyday life. For example, principles that are so basic, like reciprocity. It's called Aini in Quechua. Very important. Today I work for you, tomorrow you work for me. And like this, we build a society that is based on community, that is based on reciprocity. So these principles are very basic, and you say, oh, well, I do this all the time. No, we don't. And we don't practice most of what we preach. For example, the science of Munai, what they call Munai, love. How do we love ourselves, how we love each other? It's very important. It's a science. How can I apply love to everyday life? The teachers, the students, how do we relate to the exterior world in the street, with our friends, with our family? It's a whole thing that we need to really look into it, because our society is suffering for the lack of this science called love. We get into that in other episodes, but let's go back to the beginning of how the spiritual knowledge of the Andes started. Many thousands of years ago, there was a continent between South America and Asia called the continent of Mu, where many different races live and have developed an amazing society that was able to progress continuously into ascension. They had great teachers. Many of them crossed over to what we know now like the Andes Mountains. Andes come from the word Anti, which in Quechua means simply mountain. And the Andes and the Himalayas, when these continents sunk, they were created. These mountain ranges, when Mu went down because of different problems that they had, like Atlantis, most of the teachers and the Lemurians that were living in the continent of Mu traveled to South America. They came through Rapa Nui, which is now known as the Eastern Island, and in this way they form a chain of temples and different caves and many other places that they were creating for us to follow them later on and to discover this amazing science. We can name a few of them, like Machu Picchu, Coricancha in Cusco, Sacsayhuaman, Lake Titicaca, Cuchuito, actually Tiahuanacu. All these places are part of the chain of their amazing places that they founded. Of course, the Incas came later, and the Spaniards much later, and they built on top of these places, but you can see in the temples all the different building techniques which are very different. You can see the Lemurian foundation in Machu Picchu and in many other places like Coricancha as well, these amazing stones that are very megalithic, I will say, and they are impossible to move around, but the Lemurians have this technique because they had education about vibration, about frequency. So I would like to invite you into this meditation for you to connect with this amazing knowledge. And in this way, also realize that you are a spiritual being in a physical body. For this, we're going to use some music. Music are mathematical codes that help us to resonate and to harmonize our energy centers. So I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath through the nose and exhale. And once more through the nose. And exhale. And allow your mind to wander for a minute and observe your thoughts. Just observe. Allow the mind to ask all the questions. Observe the train of thoughts. Take another deep breath and exhale through the mouth. And I'm going to leave you alone with the music, for the music to take you where you should be. Take another deep breath and exhale. Take another deep breath through the nose and exhale. Once again, allow your mind, your heart, and your body to come back to this reality slowly. Take another deep breath and exhale. I hope you had a good meditation, and in this way we are going to start learning how to become more sensitive to a higher reality, a reality where you gather all your powers, a reality where you are in touch with your ultimate being that you are. And in this way, the teachings are easily remembered. Just to continue with this first episode of the origins of Andean spirituality, I would like to share with you that even though these teachings are ancient in their origin, they are very actual. They are happening today, and they are very contemporary to us. It is a possibility to live a very peaceful, enlightened life, full of happiness, because to this world we have come to be happy and to be in harmony. And we are that light that is the light of creation. So it's very important to become into this oneness together with all the brothers and sisters and other peoples of the world that understand this particular path. This is an inner call that many people are feeling. Millions are becoming more aware, and so it's very important for us to share it. As I say, these teachings come from the Lemurian masters that came into the area of South America in the Andes, and we can actually later on show you many of the places that they founded, and portals and many other places that are very interesting to start remembering. We are not learning, we are not teaching you anything that you don't know. You have all these connections in your brain. They are already implanted in your DNA. So it's very important to recognize these, that you are as powerful as any other person. And so we're going to empower you to continue remembering these teachings, as well as new contemporary approaches to remembering what they left to us, to keep evolving and to keep ascending into the spiritual life through the different dimensions. For this we use many things. We're going to be talking about science, we talk about music, we talk about meditation, we're talking about many things that are left out of our education. Very particular teachings about energy, about resonance. All of this is embedded in the teachings on the Lemurian masters. So it's very important that at one point you come with us to Peru and Machu Picchu, and we can show you many of these places. But it's very important also for you to understand what are we doing. So this is the first episode where we are disclosing to you where these teachings are coming. When the masters came from the continent of Mu, they actually created and founded a chain of temples and a chain of sacred places called wakas, where they actually left teachings to be discovered for us. That's why many of these places are sacred for many people. So we're going to take you there, and also we're going to share with you what we remember of these teachings. Many of the masters are still alive, and they are sharing with us all these teachings. For example, one of the teachers that came from the continent of Mu, his name was
Aramu Meru,
and he was the representative of the Brotherhood that came through the Rapa Nui, and started founding all these different temples. For example, the one in Cusco, Coricancha. Cori means gold, cancha means a stadium or place. And in this place, he founded the most sacred of all temples because it's dedicated to a portal where you can transcend to other dimensions, where you can connect with a higher reality. They used to have a solar disk that will be used for healing purposes, harmonizing, and many other things like time traveling. These teachers have the ability to actually connect with many dimensions and travel through the dimensions. They used to say that when he was traveling with Amara Mara, who was his counterpart, female master, they carry a staff of gold, made out of gold, and when they actually put the staff down on the ground, that will be the place where to found the temple. And so in the mythology that later on came through the Incas, you can see that the Incas, who were just a bunch of imperialistic I would say, terrorists, they took all of this knowledge and claimed this for themselves. And so the Incas are only about not even 800 years old when these teachings are thousands of years old. So you see the image of the Inca that they took from Amaru Meru with the golden staff and all these different outfits that they will use to represent where they came from, like for example the Seven Ray School. So when the Lemurians came representing the Seven Ray School, when they founded Cusco, they gave the flag of the Seven Ray School to the city of Cusco. The real name Cusco, which means the popcorn, the center of umbilical cord, and that is very important to know that this is the belly button of the world. The real name is Cusco. So when they founded Cusco, they gave this flag to represent that this was the city of the Seven Ray School, which is connected with the White Brotherhood, is connected to the Ascended Masters, is connected to all the spiritual schools that manifest in different places in the world. In Egypt, in the Middle East, they are all connected with a frequency. From Saint Germain to Gurdjieff, to all of these schools of thought, Madame Blavatsky, who was actually in Peru at one point, they all came to Cusco because they recognized it as a sacred city of light. So this is a little bit of how the teachings got to Peru, and not only Peru, but Chile, Argentina, what we know today as Chile and Argentina, of course. After the Spaniards subdivided the lands, they have other names for the natives of that land. So I'm looking forward to share more with you. This is the first episode, of course, the origins of Andean spirituality. In the next episode, we're going to go deeply into what the knowledge of the Brotherhood is, and the philosophy and the cosmogony, together with very specific teachings about markers called the saiwas, which are obelisks that we have in many different cities. These saiwas are philosophical markers that they left in the mountains for us to learn. So that's the chapter number 2, the philosophy and the cosmogony of Andean spirituality. But right now, I leave you with this. I hope you enjoy this presentation, and I see you next time for Andean Quest. This is Jorge Alfano for Oneness TV. Thank you.